to another stream. It's been a couple weeks since I've had anything put up, but I've had a chance to break free from a little bit of schoolwork, and I have found this new aircraft that I figured I'd do a review and tutorial on. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering if it's actually any good, considering it's from Captain Sim. I have never owned any of his products, so this will be a pretty unbiased review since I do not know what his stuff is normally like. I just know I have heard a lot of negative things about it. I have a couple friends that have some of his stuff and they like it, but I just never had any of his stuff, so I figured I'd give this one a good try because it seemed pretty in-depth, it seemed pretty well detailed, and it seemed like it was going to be a pretty good addition to my fleet here. So anyway, first I just want to say thanks for all my subscribers and watchers, as I have broke 100 subscribers, which is pretty cool. I just do this for fun. I'm not really trying to be popular, famous, or anything. It's just something I do in my free time that I enjoy showing different things, aircraft-wise and whatnot. Most of my stuff is on Flight Sim, however, let me get my phone out, T-minus 18 days, 22 hours, and 33 minutes, I will be at the Cherry Point Air Show. I will be getting tons and tons of video in 4 and 8K there with a new camera. Compared to my previous air shows I was at, I had just a very basic phone camera, and it wasn't that good because it was pretty old. But this one's going to be a lot better. I should be able to get some really cool views. I will be there both days, so that way I know I should not miss anything. And it's going to be a really fun time. It'll have the F-22s, the F-18 Blue Angels, the MACTIF demo team, Harriers, the Ospreys, Venoms, all kinds of cool stuff. So enough said about that. Be on the lookout for that air show video coming up in about 3 weeks time. I might do a little bit of live streaming while I'm down there, maybe, depending on the cellular service. Anyway, right now we are sitting in the cargo compartment, or paratrooper bay, whichever you want to call it, of the C-130 Hercules. This addition to my self-flight is pretty welcoming because this is a mighty aircraft that's been in service for a very long time. A lot of people love this aircraft. It's a beast, and it's a nice addition. And there's still a few more I'd like to see, like the Super Stallion, Blackbird, U2. Yeah, eventually. The Super Saiyan I know is actually being worked on by, I believe, Miltech, I do believe. But anyway, so there's lots of things you can open and close on this. You can open up plenty of the panels, cowling flaps, it's got the wheel chocks, the plugs. You can open up each individual cowling, not just all of them if need be. You can open up the refueling flap panel, the oxygen panel, the breaker box, the radome, as you can see here. I'm pretty sure you can actually turn the radar on and it'll move. I've not actually tried that yet, simply because that's usually a no-no. You really don't want to fry everybody sitting around you on the ground. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got an excellent exterior model, very cool details, down to all those little components in the engine. I'm not an aircraft mechanic, so I couldn't tell you much about what any of this is, but it's pretty cool. So let's hop into the cockpit here, and I'll give you a slight quick little tour of it. I've been in a C-130 in real life. It has, however, been a very long time. I'm hoping to have a C-130 down at this air show. I think they will. They've had them at the last air shows I was at. I just never had enough time to get in all the aircrafts. So that's why I'm going both days this time. But it's got like the engineer's seat here. I think that's what that would be considered. It looks like he also would do some recon, radar looking, whatever it is, some maps, data plates there that are stationary. It's got the beds, it's got the escape hatch. All this is fully functional as escape hatch has. Escape latch wise, goodness gracious, can't talk. It's got the third pilot seat. I'm not sure what you'd call it. What does that do? Oh, it swivels. I didn't know that. Uh, and of course, it's got all your buttons and switches. And pleased to say, most all of them function. Not all of them do, but I would say 80% of them. Like auxiliary pump here don't, but pretty much everything else does, including up here. And it is pretty complex. I've never started a C-130. I've never owned a C-130 in a previous flight simulator that may have been study level. So I can't guarantee its complete accuracy. If any of my viewers have actually flown any of the previous C-130s that have been study level, I'd love to know what this one is missing, because I'm sure it is missing some stuff. But it is in depth enough to scratch that itch of a pretty good C-130. The flight model is good, from what I can tell, of course. It sounds good. But anyway, so with that being said, let's get this started up here in a moment. I'm going to go over here to the little clipboard here real quick. This is where you can control all your stuff outside, like your radome. It's pretty obvious what it does. It literally just opens and closes everything. So, and right here was the cowlings as 10. You can open them up individually, or you can just click on that and close them all at once. But let's go ahead and get everything retracted there, cleaned up, and now let's get this puppy started. Alright, so first thing we want to do to get this bird started, to get it in the air, is, like any aircraft, get some power to it. So that will simply be done by going to your overhead panel here. And as long as you have external power available, it will show you there. So all you have to do is click it, and voila, you've got power. I'm going to go ahead and change my view to my overhead panel here that I have preset. And then what you want to do is go ahead and switch your battery on. That's all you got to do. You don't have to go over one more. That's all you've got to do there. Once you've got that done, you want to get your gas turbine compressor started, which is basically like an APU. It is located in this section up top here. So go ahead and turn your air turbine motor on, and then open the door for it. And then what you will want to do is use your scroll wheel, go to run, and then start. And it'll just take it a second, but it will light up here once it's fully started. It takes it just a second. And there is no manual with this aircraft, so I'm kind of had to teach myself how to start it. Per se, there is a checklist which helps, but other than that, that's pretty much it. But the checklist does do a pretty good job of learning it. But anyway, so once that is started, you will just use this switch here, turn your bleed air valve on. And next, you are ready to start the engines. So I'll go back to my default here view so you can see it a little better. But here's your engine condition levers. All you have to do is use your scroll wheel and move it forward to get fuel to the engine. along with turning that on. This is for engine 1. You can see it says 1 there too, and the next ones here are for your external fuel tanks and auxiliary. This middle one is your cross fuel cross bleed. Oh my gosh, what's it called? Cross fuel. Oh my gosh, I can't think of what it's called. Drawing a blank. Anyway, I'll skip that. But here's engine 3 and 4. You can go ahead and turn them on. I'm not worried about the externals because I don't have any fuel in them. We'll do the cross feed over. So yes, we're good there. And now what we got to do is go to our engine bleed air here, and we'll go to engine 1, and we'll scroll down twice to go to override. And once we are in the engine override, all we have to do is, or bleed air override, just go down here to your panel here, and we will hit our engine start. First, let's get some lights on. Simply by clicking these two. That's our navigation, anti-collision. So yes, engine start. And you can go down to your center console here, and you should start to see it. There it goes. Your RPM is spooling up. We'll go to our external view here. A little rainy here. Not the best day in the world down here in Florida. I'm sure it'll be sun shining later. Yes, engine 1 is looking good. You will see its RPM does go up, which is good. So once that is started, these right here are your engine generator fields. So you'll just click that for engine 1, and that will get you some power there. And we can move that back to on, and we will just repeat this process for all the engines here. Engine 2, fuel condition lever forward, and it should start spinning up. There it goes. Go back up to our overhead here. Go ahead and get the next one started. Generator on for engine 2. Fuel condition lever forward for 3. And engine start 3. Engine 2 has now started, so I'm going to move that back to just on for engine bleed air. Engine 3 is starting up. Engine 1 and 2 still looking good. Go ahead and get number 4 starting here. Generator on for number 3. And engine 4 is starting. And now with it starting, or finishing up starting, I will go ahead and turn that generator switch on. I will go ahead and turn that one to on, that one to on there, and we are good on generators. So I can turn off our external power there, and we're pretty much done with engine start. They are working, they are going, and we are ready to taxi and get her in the air. Alright, now with the engine started, I did forget one tiny step, which can be done at any point, at least I'm pretty sure. I'm going to go ahead and mention it now. I noticed some of my gauges here wasn't working and my fuel gauges wasn't working, and that was just simply because I did not have these two knobs switched. If you see there, okay, well they stayed working, but you will just want to switch them going up and all your gauges will finish working. So other than that, yes, that is it. Where is the flight deck temp? I was trying to find the internal lights. Actually don't know where those are. I've not looked for them yet. I'm sure they're in here somewhere. They might not be up here. They might be somewhere else. I'm not sure where they are. I might can find them at some point while I'm doing this. Hopefully I will. That way I can point out where they are. If anything, they should be pretty simple to find. But anyway, so let's get our taxi light on here. And that is our taxi light button there. And set our temperature. Wasn't much off, but it was a little off. And so now we are good to taxi. Wind is coming from the southwest, so that's the direction we will take off from. So park and brake released. And increase a little throttle here. Alright, and now that we have taxied and we are holding short of the runway, we will just go down here and get our landing lights on, turn off our taxi lights, and set our flaps. Flaps are right here. Most people have a button assigned to it. But yes, we have landing lights on, flaps are set. And we are good to taxi out. Don't see anything coming. The couple times I have flown this, I did not adjust my trim for takeoff. I left it at default 0% and it done just fine. I didn't have to trim up or nose down or anything to make it take off appropriately. Right, so full throttle, full power ahead. And we're at 150 knots, nose up, and we are airborne. Gear retract, positive rate of climb. Flaps retract. Can't wait for some more liveries to come out. Really would love to see Fat Albert. Actually went into the liveries on here to see how hard it would be to make one, because I have made some liveries in the past, and yeah, I hadn't tried it yet. Alright, let's turn right here. Reduce throttle to about 80% here. Nose down just a little bit on my trim, that is. And I will go over the autopilot the best I can from what I have figured out on how to make it work. Here in a moment, as soon as I get turned around and facing Miami a little better. Just so I can get on the path I want to be on. Alright, so that's pretty good for right now. So basically for the autopilot, so it's a little different. This is the older version of the C-130. It does not have the modern avionics systems installed in this. So yes, it is a little different. So over here in your center console, you have this pilot on and altitude control on, and a turn knob and a little spinny wheel. So basically, you turn this on for autopilot, so autopilot's now on, and you use this to turn and it'll hold a steady turn, and you use this to control your pitch, your angle of attack for your vertical speed there. Just do it a few clicks at a time. Right now I'm about 1400 feet per minute. You can see I've pulled back a couple times and it jumps up to about 15, 16. And you can see my turn. I'm still on a slight turn here. Turning a little harder. It'll bank a little harder. It's pretty much common sense there as to how that works. Increase my throttle back some. I had it down to about 50%. Can't see anything. Oh, there we go, a little bit. I don't really know where I'm at. Anyway, so yes, we're getting ready to pass 5,500 feet, so what I'm going to do is hit that altitude button right when I want to. And what that does is it pretty much just holds it right where it was when you hit it. Or maybe not quite right when you hit it, but to fix that, you just turn that off and then nose down a little bit. And then hit it once you're ready. There we go. I have a feeling I'm heading too far eastward than I want, so I'm going to start turning left a little. Yes, I was. I want to go a little more east, or northern. I have not figured out how to use heading select yet, so if anybody has figured that out, please let me know. I know some of the other C-130s from what I heard have a track button, which is kind of looks like that, but that don't actually work. So I don't know. It goes to VOR, so I don't know. Maybe you don't have a heading hold button right now. I'd kind of like to find it out. Anyway, we're passing over Miami here now. Yeah, not a bad day now. Just that little patch of clouds back there by the airport where it was kind of nasty. A few clouds up here in front of us, might have a little bit of rain. It looks like we're going to fly into them at this level, so we'll just decrease our altitude some. So I'm going to turn off the altitude control and nose down. And of course, pull back on my throttle. And just since this is a short little video here intentionally, I'm going to land at Fort Lauderdale here. Let's see what the winds are there. Coming from the west, pretty much due west, so that's Fort Lauderdale right there, so let's actually start going out towards the ocean. Nose down just a little more. I'm going to take over flying here in a second. I'm just still kind of demoing the autopilot a little bit here. Level out the aircraft. And altitude home for 2,500 feet. And so this bird does not have any speed brakes, air brakes, whichever you want to call it. So really gotta watch your speed. It's not as easy to slow down if you're too fast and can't extend your flaps out. So yes, watch your speed there, and take it easy when you come in on approach, especially for your glide slope. Coming in on your glide slope too fast, it can be a little difficult to slow down. I figured that out yesterday. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the autopilot by just turning it off. Woohoo. And I'm just going to do a left base entry for runway 27. 7 left, 28 left. I can't remember exactly what number it is for Fort Lauderdale. Either way, it's pretty much around the 270. Alright. Getting a little bit of flaps out. I'm at 20% right now on my flaps. Go ahead and drop 30. There's 10 stages to your flaps, or 10 notches. Not sure exactly the correct terminology for that. Yep, you can see the airport here. Bunches of ships out and about today as normal. Not the best left-hand base entry in the world. Flaring a little bit, no throttle, and down we are. And this does have a reverse thrust, so if you have something you can do that with, you do have that option for braking. As you can see, I slowed down pretty quick, and I never actually used any actual brakes. And if you've never heard of a prop plane having reverse thrust, all it does is change the angle of the blades. Instead of it pulling air, it pushes air. I have no idea where I'm going to park. Not really on the center line here. I'm trying to find where I want to go. We'll go right over there. To my left. I have no idea if there's actually any parking right here, but guess what? There is today. Alright, so parking brake set. So to turn the engines off, basically what we want to do first is make sure we get our oh, I never did turn off my gas turbine compressor. Okay, well, there we go. It's still running. So normally you want to turn that on. And then all you have to do is pull back your levers and they turn off. And everything's pretty much done in reverse order now. There's Microsoft Flight registering. It's a flight. Turn off your landing lights and turn off. Alright, so for the remainder of this video, the audio got messed up. I'm not sure why. It started playing like really fast, twice as fast as the video. But anyway, so I'm just doing this little voiceover to end it up. All I'm doing there is just cleaning the plane up to get it back in the state it was when we first loaded in. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And I do enjoy this aircraft much. And I'd have to recommend it. I would say I'd recommend it if you like any of these military planes, such as definitely the C-130. It seems like it flies pretty good, sounds good, has lots of unique uh, miscellaneous features to it, which adds a little nice touch. But anyway, thanks for watching, and again, I will have the air show for Cherry Point up in about 3 weeks probably. It's the 11th and 12th of next month. And like I said, I'll be down there both days. Hopefully might be doing some live streaming. Never know. Depends on the cell service. But regardless, I will have that the videos and recordings coming up for it shortly after. And I will probably not have any videos until then, but again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please leave a like, subscribe, any comments you might have, and fly safe.